Hello, my name's Paul,
Hi, my name's Rachel.
and we are the English Language Lab, and this is our business English podcast, BizPod.
We're going to try to teach you everything you need to know about business English.
So, whether you need English for job hunting, presentations, meetings, or any other form of communication, you have come to the right place.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy BizPod. Hi, Paul.
Hello again.
How are you this week?
I'm a little excited, a little bit unsure
Excited and unsure. Why? What about?
because we're talking about public speaking today.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's an exciting topic, but
Yeah.
something I dread.
Really?
Yeah. Really.
Why?
I think just the idea of standing up in front of an audience, maybe potentially hundreds of people, just fills me with fear.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think it does. Seriously. What about you?
No, you could put me in a stadium full of thousands. I wouldn't care two hoots. Wouldn't
Yeah?
matter to me
What?
at all. I'll stand up and talk. I ain't got a problem.
Yeah. So you could stand up in front of 20,000 people in a stadium and just talk?
Yeah, I could, as long as I knew what I was talking about.
Okay.
It would bother whether it's one person or 20,000. It really would not bother me. It always amazes me that some people are scared about speaking in front of crowds because I really can't comprehend it. But
Well, there you go.
Dif-
I think
different
for me, it's not something that I would ever really want to have to do if I could avoid it.
Okay. All right. But I mean, with regards to public speaking, is it a particular type of speaking? Is it about the topic that you might have to speak about?
For me, no. I think it's the whole sort of fear of being the focus of attention for maybe 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people, and having them look at you and listen to you. It's that whole fear thing, I think,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I would love to try it. I would love to do it, but I think it would be one of the most frightening things I've ever done.
You mean you've never stood up in front of a load of people and spoken before?
A handful of people.
Yeah.
5, 10 people maximum.
Okay. See, that maybe it's because I've got the school teacher background. I've stood up in front of the whole school. Doesn't matter. And maybe because, leading the orchestra, I was at the front leading everybody in front of a big audience. It doesn't faze me. Practice makes perfect, Paul.
Exactly. Yeah. I've had no practice or very little practice, so I'm a little bit rusty.
Okay. All right. Well, I would feel nervous if I was doing public speaking sort of like informally. If we're talking about things like stand-up comedy, trying to make people laugh, that would worry me. But it would worry me on the level of, do they find my jokes funny? It wouldn't be the number of people that bothers me. It'd be the material. I don't think I'm funny. I forget the punchlines of jokes. No, Paul's not shaking his head in front of me saying I'm not funny. Okay. All right. Unless I'm laughing at myself for eating lots of strawberries, like I was today. I was just stood in the middle of the garden, just giggling at myself. Okay. All right. But what about you? Would you like to do stand-up comedy?
You know what? Yeah, I would love to give it a go. I think of all the sort of different elements of public speaking, I think stand-up comedy would be the most exciting and interesting one to try.
Mm-hmm.
Thrilling, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you, I don't think I'm funny. So I think it would, I would bomb, basically. After 30 seconds, 2 minutes, there would be boos from the audience because I'm just not funny.
Boo, boo, get off, throwing tomatoes at you and eggs.
But all great comedians started with booze.
Yeah. You got to learn how to handle your heckles, haven't you? The hecklers in the crowd.
Yeah.
Okay. But what about...
Wait, and talking of heckles,
yeah.
I mean, in most sort of professional public speaking, you don't get heckled, do you? There are no heckles in a conference, for example. There are no heckles in a presentation.
No, but in a presentation, you should be adding elements of humor to engage your audience. So there may not be any heckles in formal speaking, but there should be an element of comedy in there.
Okay, that's true. I think we should encourage our listeners to start heckling during presentations.
No, they'll get sacked.
It'd be fun, though.
They'll get pulled aside. Your behavior is not professional. You're not being respectful.
They'll say, but my English is perfect.
But what is a good heckle? Do you know any good heckles? Apart from boo, get off your rubbish.
There are lots and lots of heckles that I've heard on different sort of, comedies. I'm watching stand-up comedy. I don't think there's any we could repeat right now, though, to be honest.
No, that's in a whole different podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what about, let's talk a little bit about influencing the audience, because obviously there's different reasons for public speaking. Sometimes you might want to educate the audience, tell them about something they didn't know. You want to motivate them sometimes, encourage them to do something. You might want to persuade them, get them to change their beliefs, their attitudes, their behaviors. I mean, I very much like I suppose educational speaking. I like to listen to somebody and come away from that knowing something that I didn't know before. But there is an element of motivational speaking. Like we've been reading a lot of books recently, didn't we? We went on holiday and we took a load of self-improvement books.
Like this one, for example?
Yeah.
Robin Sharma.
Paul's holding up Robin Sharma in front of me, the 5 a.m. Club. And I love Robin Sharma as a speaker, but his book for me bombed. It was dire. I like the idea of the 5 a.m. Club. I like the way he explains it on YouTube videos. But his book for me was, oh my God, really, 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 can I say really enough, bad.
Yeah. What about this one then? Mel Robbins, the 5-second rule.
Again, Mel Robbins, if she does a short presentation, I love it. She's very good with 5 minutes, a little nugget of advice. But her podcast, I find, is very repetitive and too long. I hate her podcast. It's very, very popular. Some people love it, but I like her short videos. But her book, again, for me, she could have said her message in a page and a half and she'd wrote a whole book about it. And it was all, hints and tips from social media. And it was just like, no, on so many levels for me. So that's somebody who speaks publicly again, but the message didn't come across in a different format. I mean, what about you? Have you got any that you can give a comparison between the public speaking and the written format, or how the message is delivered?
Not really. No, I don't have any sort of direct comparisons like you. But I think if you are going to speak in public, I think there's a certain element of magic about speaking in public. There's that element of energizing and inspiring your audience. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it, how you present your ideas. And I don't know who is the best public speaker, but when I think about public speaking, I'm thinking about, is it Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying I agree with Tony Robbins' ideas and everything that he says, but I think as a public speaker, I think he really engages the people that he's speaking to. It could be because they're all going to be engaged by Tony Robbins. You don't turn up at a Tony Robbins speaking event by chance, you pay thousands of dollars to go and see him. So if you pay thousands of dollars, you're probably going to listen very attentively and be engaged and motivated.
Yeah.
So there's maybe that sort of element as well. But I think he's really good.
But don't you think, though, with Tony Robbins, he's got a captive audience, because everybody who's paid that thousands, they need something. They're looking for something. They're needing some help, so they're going there to get a fix. So they are there ready to agree and approve. So he's preaching to the converted.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you said, it's a captive audience. But when you see him and you see his interaction and how motivated and engaged the audience are, I think that's the way it should be done.
It's funny. I had a student who actually paid. She was from Reunion Island. It always stuck in me because she was the only student I've ever had from Reunion Island. She used to have parrots flying through the back of her room where she was. It looked so wonderful. But she actually paid and went to, I can't remember, she went to London, that was it, to see Tony Robbins. She didn't speak English at the time, so had to have one of these translator things in her ear. She paid like $6,000. And yeah. And it was just so amazing that somebody would travel halfway around the world, pay all that money to go and listen to somebody speak who hadn't, even got any concept of the language at the time, But she said, I don't know whether this is true, but she said that they had somebody like a warm-up guy before he came on stage to get the crowd into a kind of a buzz, sort of a frenzy. So it was almost like a stand-up comedy gig.
Yeah.
Without
I think it's very false, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I couldn't say unless we'd gone. I mean, he doesn't give the kind of thing that I'm looking for, but I can understand he helps some people with what they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when it comes to, let's say public speaking, I think one of the things that if you are in the public eye in any sense, I think one of the things that you have to aim to do is a TED talk.
Ooh.
I think, so number one on my list would be stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number two on my list would be to do a TED talk.
On what?
Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know what my TED talk would be on. But I think some of the most engaging TED Talks I've seen have incorporated humor and comedy into them.
Which is your favorite?
Yeah, I can't remember my favorite who it was. Do you remember the one about I'm trying to think, how would I describe it? The procrastination.
Oh, yeah, the monkey on your shoulder. The
procrastination monkey.
Yeah. He was funny, wasn't he?
Yeah. I think that, that was, that the message was real. It was a real message, but it was delivered in such a way, in such a humorous way that you can't forget.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah.
And my TED talk would have to be something like that. I don't know what it would be about, but it would have to be something that's engaging in that humorous way.
Okay. My favorite one is of a woman. I can't remember if she had a brain aneurysm or something. And she's a scientist, and she was so thrilled that she was having a problem with her brain herself because she could then analyze herself. But the way she explains how things were going wrong, and she's trying to talk to people on the phone and she doesn't realize, she thinks she's saying something, but what's coming out is rah, 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 rah. And she just does it in such a humorous way. But if you think about what was happening to her, it was absolutely disastrous. Yeah. It took her years to rehabilitate and get back to where she was. But the humor element,
yeah,
again, was there. So, I agree with that.
So the rule that you stated at the beginning that, humor is the best way to engage with people. And I completely agree.
Because you remember it. You remember it.
Yeah. So I'm going to become a stand-up comedian, then I'm going to do a TED Talk.
Okay.
That's my ambition and my goal for my life. Okay.
Okay. What about what tips would you? I mean, if you're a person who's hesitant of talking in front of big groups of people, so what tips would you give to people who feel the same as you if they've got to give a some presentation or something, or do some public speaking for work, you know, like maybe at some convention or something.
Yeah.
Because you used to go to trade fairs and stand on trade stands, but I suppose that was one-to-one speaking, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really one-to-one, you know. What advice would I give people? Just do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can faff around and you can worry about it as much as you like. Just get yourself prepared, make sure you know what you're going to say, and just do it. You know, I think maybe, you know, there's lots of sort of, you know, I wouldn't say professional secrets, but ideas of, you know, imagine everyone in the audience is naked. That should make you feel better.
Yeah.
Other ideas that I've heard is, you don't imagine that you're talking to the whole audience. You select one person in the audience, and that's the person you're talking to. No one else exists. You're talking to that one person in the audience. I don't know whether any of that helps or works, but I would say don't worry about it. If you've got to do it, just do it.
Yeah,
it won't be as bad as you imagine it's going to be.
No, that's true. Video yourself. That's what I would say. Video yourself, and then you'll realize, oh, that was quite good. That was, it was good. That bit, I explained that bit well. That bit was funny. But for me, that advice of talking to one person, that would make me start worrying, because I would prefer to speak to a big group than one person.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that would work for me. I think just, you know, focus on one person in the audience, and I'm talking to you.
Me.
Yeah. Okay. You can be there if you want.
I'll blow raspberries at you. Boo, get off! You're rubbish.
You're going to be my heckler, are you?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's
going to be my mission in life. You do a stand-up comedy TED Talk. I'll come to the audience and I'll boo you off.
Okay. Let's just hope that one day it happens, and it gets videoed and we can share it with everybody. Yeah,
in your dreams. Okay. All right. I think that's it for today, Paul. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.